This is News 4 at noon.
Good afternoon and a very happy Friday to all of you. I'm Laura Hettiger in for Emily Rao. News 4 continues tracking the cleanup progress across the bi-state area. A massive tornado touches down in northern Illinois, killing one person and leaving a trail of destruction behind. We'll have more on that in a couple of minutes. But first, let's begin with storm damage in our area. Now, this is a bird's eye view of what it looks like in Chesterfield. The parking lot out front is just a mess. There's an air conditioner here, one right here. Here's part of the roof. You have to look across the parking lot up into that tree to find the other part of the roof. And when you walk around to the back side of the building, it looks like a wrecking ball was right over this business and dropped. The roof is gone, the back wall is gone, but the businesses next to it are still standing. But something else I want to show you, check it out. This sign is from a business nearly half a mile away. A witness talking about an air conditioner flying through the air and hitting a car. You might be able to see there are a couple men out here. They actually saw that when that happened. And it wasn't just that the air conditioner hit a car, it is literally in the front seat of a car. I can't catch a break today because it just started pouring again here in the last 30 seconds. Not even enough time for me to grab an umbrella, but I'll break down what has been happening overnight and how many of our normal viewers might be waking up in the dark this morning. It's pretty usual at this time, just before an election, that candidates will be out walking the streets, knocking on doors, encouraging people to vote for them. However, here in Ferguson this weekend, it was actually a United States congressman who was not up for re-election who put on his walking shoes to just encourage people to go vote. When it came time for candidates to file for candidacy here in Ferguson in January, 3 current council members essentially wiped their hands and said they are done. So depending on where people live today, they'll have a choice between voting between 2 or 4 people to represent their ward. So let's go ahead and introduce you to the people who could fill these 3 seats. 3 new people, Emily, but one is already very familiar with this building. It is former mayor and former council member Brian Fletcher. He was elected yesterday along with Ella Jones and Wesley Bell. They are the 3 people that voters say they want to help move this town forward. Now, with the elections of Jones and Bell, now half of this city council will be black. We're just going to have to wait and see what this council can accomplish together. Because of that severe weather, Governor Bruce Rauner activated the state's Incident Response Center. He was also due to make a stop in St. Clair County today. He was going to talk about the economy, but that trip was canceled because of the storm damage you just saw. Right now, those in the governor's office are not saying if or when that trip will be rescheduled. And by the way, due to yesterday's extensive storm mode coverage, News 4 had to cut into some of our regularly scheduled programming.
Laura, looks like that rain is let up just a tad.
A little, and I had enough time to grab an umbrella this time, so baby steps this morning. But Emily, I did have a chance to speak with Ameren officials. As you mentioned, we do know upwards of 1,500 Ameren customers on both sides of the river are waking up without power this morning. And that Ameren official I talked to said it is just not safe right now with all the lightning in the area for crews to be out and working on those power lines, so it's unclear when the power will be restored. Now, like those power crews, News 4 was out all day in this yesterday and all morning, as were police officers and other road crews. We actually stopped, about a half a mile away to look for damage there. That's where we saw the uprooted trees, and as soon as we rolled down the window to really get a better look at things, we smelled a strong gas. We called the gas company, reported that. Now the gas company is making its way there to check it out. A lot has been made of this election, and we have heard for months the calls for change, but maybe what will be more interesting than who is elected tomorrow will be just how many people go out and vote. Now, according to the city's election director, get this, fewer than 600 people have registered to vote since all the unrest began in August. Now, keep in mind, Ferguson is a town of 21,000 people. Good morning to you, Andre. Now, we are joining you actually from Ferguson, where in just about 30 minutes, we can expect residents here to come here and cast their vote for who they want to represent them in the city council. However, we are also discussing other big races, specifically one that is happening in East St. Louis. And I was able to obtain a sample ballot there. And if we can zoom in, I want to specifically point out what's going on for mayor. You see 2 names, Amika Jackson Hicks and also Courtney Hoffman. But then there's a write-in line, and that line is what could determine this election. I took all the percentages of the last 3 local elections Added them all together, came up with the average. You see, it is less than 11%. Get this, yesterday's came out to just about 30%. So that is nearly triple what we have been seeing. And here's one other number I have for you guys this morning, because you know I love props so much. 13. That is how many days are left until the next. Here it is. It is 540,000.
Which you think is low?
I think is low. I'm pretty sure there were 3.5 million people who saw a game of Busch last year. I have to have a hot dog when I go.
Yeah, it's pretty much a staple.
It is. In a still reeling economy, city officials there are asking people to say, yeah, it's okay, go ahead and jack up my property taxes so that money can go to the schools. Any of the voters who are there right now will have to answer that simply by saying yes or no. Here is the big kicker about it. Less than 2 weeks ago, we found out that the steel plant in town is planning on cutting upwards of 2,000 jobs. News 4 this morning has been dedicated to bringing you every development out of Ferguson over the last 8 months, and now we are just 1 day away from people in this town heading to the polls and deciding who they want to work for them right here at City Hall. I'm looking into tomorrow's election. I'll have those details coming up next. The turnout for yesterday's election was also different. It was just about 48 hours ago that I was standing right here, right outside this building, telling you how voter turnout is notoriously low in this town. Well, get this, nearly 30% of the registered voters came out yesterday to voice their opinions. That is a big change from 1 year ago when less than 13% came out to vote. We are here in Ferguson. So people who live here have people on a city council. They also have a mayor, and then they have someone representing them on county council. But when you go down south to the 6th district in South St. Louis County by the Afton area, a lot of those people live in unincorporated St. Louis County, meaning they have no city council, they have no mayor. All they have is the one person who represents them on the county council. So exactly who are the three people running? Let's go ahead and introduce you to them. I did just have a chance to speak with a loyal News 4 viewer who is also a business owner in this area. He was in his business last night when the storm ripped through just after 7 o'clock. He does have some roof damage and water now in his building, but go ahead and check this out. Now that the sun has come up, we're getting a much better idea of the damage out here. You see a dumpster that has been thrown across the road, and just beyond that, you see a lot of roofing material. We understand that roof was actually on a building on the other side of the street, but those strong winds ripped it off, tossed it around. The good news that we have to report this morning is that there were no injuries. Heads up to any of you who shop at Walgreens. We've learned nearly 200 stores here in the United States will close. It's all part of a cost-cutting move. I think Mike and I definitely drew the short straw today to stand out in the rain, but yes, you mentioned it. I talked at length yesterday with officials about what they're going to do if there is damage. Now, in fact, road officials and power officials told me what they're really nervous about are trees. In these type of storms, strong winds or lightning can hit a tree, knock it over, and that is why yesterday they spent hours getting chainsaws and chippers ready just in case they need to break up any trees. So let's go ahead and get you to some video of what those storms looked like yesterday.
Laura Hettiger walked through the destruction and talked to those who saw it firsthand.
I mean, it was the most rain and the most wind I've ever seen. I've seen some big thunderstorms and seen some, strong winds.
Brian Beelman's seen a lot during his nearly 20 years at Beelman's Embroidery, but he's never seen the building his business is in look like this.
I had no idea that 30 feet away, utter devastation had occurred.
The parking lot out front is just a mess. There's an air conditioner here, one right here. Here's part of the roof. You have to look across the parking lot up into that tree to find the other part of the roof. And when you walk around to the back side of the building, it looks like a wrecking ball was right over this business and dropped. The roof is gone, the back wall is gone, but the businesses next to it are still standing. But something else I want to show you, check it out. This sign is from a business nearly half a mile away.
The other business, if someone had been in there, it's a sign company, I cannot see how they would not have been seriously injured or killed. It was so bad.
Despite all the destruction and the hours of cleanup ahead, no one was hurt.
That's really, I guess, ultimately what's important.
Reporting in Chesterfield, Laura Hettiger, News 4.